Okay, the session that is interested with me is the approaches and the best practices in blended learning, a paradigm shift or adaptation. Well, this is a question that we all would have asked several times during this pandemic period, especially during the blended or the online teaching sessions. So I will discuss some of those sessions, some of those areas, some of the main features of blended learning as well as online learning, and suggest some of the strategies, some of the tips of online learning through this session for 45 minutes. All right, so this is one quotation which I think you probably might have heard. If we teach today's student as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. So we are mindful that when we teach our students of today, it's for another 10 years time, they'll be reaching the market, how useful they can be. That kind of a thing, I mean, that kind of a thought should be very relevant with all of us. Well, one of the most prominent aspects of online teaching, especially these days, is to be aware that we are teaching the Generation Z. And the Generation Z, as you can see here in this slide, which is displayed over there, is the Generation Z is where they are more prominent to security and stability, multitaskers and nano computing. So how to train them? One of the common features which is mentioned in every session, every research, is that this kind of generation, they love gamification, which means that they need to think digitally. They need to rethink how you communicate when you speak to them, and it should be relevant to them and allow them to collaborate and learn by doing things. Now, a survey which was conducted by the Franklin University in 2020, it speaks about how teachers responded to the situation. Now, this was during the lockdown in Oman. All of us were halfway through our teaching. So the responses of the teachers were, they mostly were very comfortable with technology. Some have good confidence in teaching online. Now, there are some student concerns, as you all might share the same as well. The internet connectivity, the skills of using the technology, and the discipline and the time management, positivity, presence, participation. Many of the participants who attended this survey want to have engaging lessons, how to engage those sessions more effectively, how to maintain the connection with the students, how to help motivate, engage students in learning, and how to assess learning online. These were some of the concerns. The similar survey had also another online questionnaire which says that, what are you most concerned about in teaching your online course? So this was a kind of snapshot of the survey, which is not concluded. Basically, it was just an online quick survey, but you can see the concerns which were raised, where students having access to internet and needing technology is one of the main concerns which everybody had. A similar survey conducted by the British Council spoke about some of the areas, some of the challenges in remote teaching or remote training. So these are some of the challenges. One, the major challenge, as majority of the participants said, that difficulty in switching off. I think switching off, not switching on. Here we're talking from the teacher's perspective. We found that there is almost a merging between your personal life and official life, or there is no separate official, there's no compartmentalization. Even as teachers, I'm sure everybody would have said that, no, we can never switch off from our day-to-day activities. This has accelerated or accentuated in these days of online learning. Now, in the online learning, while you use the blended learning, we use a lot of collaboration tools, and a teacher must have some kind of a know-how on this soft skills in order to become, more acceptable for the student community, or to be valuable for the society in general. Now, before we apply those strategies, let's look at some of the key learning principles. I think You might have all know about VARK learning style, right? I think I don't need to explain that. What is it given on the right side of the screen is that visual, auditory, reading and writing, and kinesthetic. The same concept must be there even while engaging an online session itself. The learning paradigm, okay, of constructivism, as many of you might have heard about, is to teach or learn from the knowledge or from the experience. Now, this is against the previous principles of like mind is a tabula rasa, it's an empty screen, it's a blank screen. It's not like that. The results of personal interpretation of information is great in teaching and learning. If two faculty members, two teachers teach the same module, they don't teach in the same way. It depends on their experience and how they live through that. The same thing is there when students learn. They learn not just from their personal, what you give, but they associate the concepts with their own personal experience. So learning is based on experience, and that is the constructivist approach of learning. One more, theory I would like to present here is Merrill's presented in 2002, and later on Gardner also concurred with the first principles of instruction, that every concept that you teach should be problem-centered. So this is a main tenet, one of the main tenets of constructivism. You start when there is an awareness of there is an issue to be solved, and then you activate through the demonstrate the prior knowledge. Then you try to demonstrate in the real world examples while you teach, and then you apply. Students solve it in a case study or a real world situation, and then the students learn to plan the knowledge for the future world. So this is an integration. So this is a constructivist approach. So we'll talk about some of the areas of the technical equipment, the synchronous and asynchronous platforms, the backup plans, and things to watch out for. First of all, technical equipment. Needless to say, all the gadgets should be there, including the internet connectivity, the headsets that you used, the camera, the laptop, PC, everything. That's a basic thing. Now, use of relevant visuals is extremely important to facilitate learning in an online world. Now, visuals are something which is much more than needed, because that's the only way to grab the attention of the students while you deal in the online environment. For that matter, PowerPoint slides and the whiteboard feature is also very important. Some of you might have used the whiteboard feature. Okay, not just the physical whiteboard. You can have a physical whiteboard and share the screen as we're doing, or YouTube sharing. Okay, the whiteboard feature is something that you might be aware of. I hope you can see the whiteboard here. So this is something which you can write on. Okay. Okay. So this is something that you can write on live through this particular session. That is a whiteboard that we have just mentioned. Now, other than that, now PowerPoint is one of the very common as well as very useful features of online teaching and learning. I think you would have definitely understood that without a slide, without the content which is displayed, you may not perhaps appeal to the visually oriented learners. They said about the VARK learning styles. So visual learners would like to see the concepts in images as well as letters, how it is. So these are some of the best practices. Keep lecturing to the minimal in live sessions. Now, those of you who have attended the teacher training sessions, perhaps, or those who have a B.Ed or CELTA or anything, they would have definitely identified this as the TTT. One of the common features in a live session is we tend to talk more. The teacher talk time is high. Now, in order to avoid this, one of the methods by which you can adapt in your online session is activities within the class. So that's one, activities, and then record the live sessions if possible. I think you are aware of Microsoft has PowerPoint itself as a recording facility. You don't need to depend on any other platforms for it. Those of you might have used Microsoft PowerPoint. Now, this is a feature which you can activate from the customize the ribbon on the right hand side. Click on the empty screen here, and there you see this ribbon. Now, it's in the latest Microsoft. Now, click on this video recording, this feature which is listed on the right hand side, And once you have said okay to it, you will have a tab to your your PowerPoint. Now you can see the recording tab is here. So this is the tab for recording. You can actually video record your own presentation. You can see that the feature is available here on the right hand side. So you can live record and save it and then send it to the students. So this is one of the features. You can have live, record the sessions live and then send it prior to your classrooms, your main classroom, so that you can discuss further in the classrooms. Focusing on the key topics is important, and tell them what we are trying to cover today. It's important. Create engaging and learning interaction with the learners. There are lots of interaction possible by it, by quick chat and the sharing of the chat screen. Sometimes the chat is very useful to understand whether the student is actually present behind the screen. You ask a quick question. Have you participated in any teamwork before? Say yes or no. And then you can track the students where they have answered yes or no. And then if it is a small class, you can always track the students who have answered and who have not. So this is important for the chat to keep the lecture, some of the best practices to use live recording. Some of the additional tools that can be used is MS Forms. And if you use an MS Forms, you have got online quizzes conducted. Forms can have assessments and quizzes. Breakout rooms is another useful method to keep the group work activities in live for group discussions. We use quite a lot of breakout rooms here. As a university here, as the colleges used here, the MS Teams, which is a very popular tool. Although, Zoom, they have their own reservations on it. Okay, so many of the universities use MS Teams, which has all these facilities, and definitely Zoom as well have all the similar facilities. Now, how to create engaging live sessions? We all have this kind of teacher-oriented perhaps an approach, which is very traditional. Perhaps in live sessions, you must have live sessions every class, every class should be live sessions, and make it as in addition to the live sessions, you continue with it as QA, question answer, or office hours. We have tutorials here where students come in small batches of 15 and 20. Now this batch can be tracked. You can see who is participating and who is not. And sometimes if you want to discuss particular assignment with the student, you can have it in a one-to-one mode of discussions, especially with the breakout rooms we mentioned previously. Now the middle concept, the web cameras, is a very useful tool, as you might have realized. However, wherever possible, try to use the webcams. We know the reservations, okay, maybe because of cultural issues, personal privacy matters. However, wherever possible, even in meetings or in small group sessions, encourage the students as much as possible to use webcams. So that will keep them engaged within the session. If it's a half-an-hour session, you tell them that this is a precondition. All of you should be dressed properly for the session. You must be using the webcams live. Asking questions, ask the students questions. Sometimes we call the students by the name. I think you can do that just to see the response of the student, whether the student is actually there. Okay, and audio response or chat response. I found that many students prefer not to talk, but they use the chat because that's what they're very popular with it. Again, refer to the Generation Z. Generation Z is where they use mostly chats and emojis, emote icons. So it's sometimes useful to chat with them just to keep them engaged, to make sure that they are live within the sessions. Non-verbal feedback, the emojis, as we mentioned, is very useful for keeping the students engaged. But then these features are very useful when you use it in a small or mid-sized classrooms. And the positive things are that they are try to use short expressions just to understand, just to verify the understanding, and when audio is not possible. However, the negative aspect is do not use this chat session in larger classrooms or for more detailed answers. Useful is if the tracking responses are required. That's very useful. Now this is an example. On the left hand side, you can see this is Microsoft MS Teams, okay, the chat sessions, the emojis. This is from the Zoom. So you can see that all these things are useful for the live sessions. It is very important, very useful to have this, especially to gauge the student engagement and then understanding of the concepts. However, we cannot use a chat for general student comment in details and the student qualitative insights of these things. What skills do the teachers need to develop, okay, in order to be successful in online sessions? Now, one of the things which are useful is that, let me just share this. Okay. All right. Okay, so one of the things which are very useful for this is the teachers, as we mentioned, should have technical adaptability. They should have the soft skills, they should have the interpersonal skills, and the self-motivation to have the sessions, basically, to continue with the sessions. All right, so let's continue with the next part of it. Use of relevant visuals to facilitate learning is a very important thing. Now, we said about the whiteboard markers and whiteboard feature and everything. Interactive pedagogy is another important thing. I think some of you might have heard about Padlet as a feature. Have you heard about Padlet? I'm not sure about this, but some of you might have heard about Padlet. Now, if you use the Padlet here, let me just try to give you a snapshot of Padlet as we're trying to share the screen here. Now, this is the Padlet. This Padlet is used for live sessions, especially if you want students to get an answer. It can share the features. If you go to padlet.com, you can create questions, you can create discussion boards where students can understand the concepts, or you can check the understanding of the student concepts. Now, if you share the screen, okay, the students will get to see a QR code, again, a feature which can be very useful for the new generation. There is a QR code that are being used, and once you focus your camera on the QR code, you will get the link to it, or you can get to share them a link on a clipboard, send them by email or chat. So this is a second feature that we are mentioning here about the chat features by using the Padlet. So this will create kind of avoid the monotony of presenting something using the same platform. You're using another platforms, cross platforms for this purpose, not because it is not available in the platform that you use, but for variety purpose, but for changing of the mode, but for creating all for creating heterogeneity in the class. You can create different aspects of online teaching and learning. Okay, so we further go with it. The second aspect we discuss here. Now, this is the one which I was trying to explain to the previous slide. For example, a question like, what do you like most about online teaching? So you can share the QR code on the screen. All what they need to do is just focus. Even you can do it now. If you open your camera and focus on this particular mode, you'll get a link to that. If you get a link there. Now click on the link, you are getting a live platform where students can interact live, or you can give the website, which is already mentioned over there. Okay, further thing is the Mentimeter. I think some of you might have heard about this Mentimeter. I don't know whether you have heard about Mentimeter. Have you heard it before? Mentimeter? Okay, some of you. Now for the teachers, it is mentimeter.com for the participation, for entering all those things. For the students to enter, for the participants to enter, it's menti.com, where you can see the interactions live. Now, let me just see whether you can try this on the screen here. Okay, so if you can use your computer screens or your mobile phones to www.menti.com, menti.com, you can definitely use this feature here. Can you try this? menti.com. Okay, let me share the screen once again. This is the menti.com. Okay, the question here is, have you ever taught in an online class? When you go to the menti.com, they will be asking for a code, and the code that you can give is 9089147. So once you give this code, now this is a real time survey. This is menti.com. You can see, if anybody tries to key in this code and try to say yes or no for the session, and have you for this question, Have you ever taught in an online class? You will definitely get to see the real-time score within the screen. So this can be shared with the students. So it is to create live participation. As you can see there, somebody had said yes. Okay, some two people have said yes to that. So this is a live, 4 people have responded to it. This is a live session for the students also. You know, somebody says yes, somebody said no. So it will be interesting to keep the sessions more dynamic than what we can see here as a static mode. So this is all synchronous sessions, live, one-to-one, happening at the same time. These sessions happen at the same time. So this is a second method to keep, again, engage the classes, to have synchronous polls such as menti.com. Very useful tool to keep the classes engaged. So some of the positives and the negatives of it. Mentimeter is very useful to gauge learner understanding and used in the larger classrooms. Now, we mentioned that it is not useful for the larger classrooms. Here, it is useful for the larger class groups, and it is used to learn the learner data and feedback, mostly meant for quantitative collection of user feedback. It is not used for small groups. It can be used for large classrooms or 50 size. It's very useful. And it is very useful for that individual learner response that everybody needs to respond to it. Although I must tell you that Zoom has the feature, this will create, okay, as an alternative for the same sessions not to have it. The other one, which is very popular these days, I'm sure some of you must have used, is Kahoot. So you can play with the class group of individuals. Before the first question starts, participants have to enter the nickname. If you go to kahoot.com, the question appears and the participants need to answer it before the countdown ends. Accuracy and speed are important. The faster you give the answer, you get the faster response. You get a higher marks also. So you can choose, the leaderboard, and the final winner is revealed. Okay, so I had one of those sessions there, but we'll see whether we have the time for this quick session. I don't know whether you can have it. So here the Mentimeter is going alive, kicking. You can see that here. Okay, so let me just have this. And I think you all have a mobile phone to play other than the computer screen. So if you have a mobile phone, just a quick Kahoot that you, and this is just a quick small 10 questions on, I think you might have heard this word, the same sounded words, how it will be useful to you. Okay, this is the Kahoot game pin. So if you are having a mobile phone, you can go to www.kahoot.it quickly. www.kahoot.it and give the game pin 1005601. We have one person very actively participated. Okay, AD Akash Saranya Ketu Diki Pratyush. We're going to go quickly. I don't want to take any time just to show you. All right, so I know that you have lots of enthusiastic participants here. I can see that, okay, the participant list is increasing. Okay, now let me quickly start the game. Okay, I'm sorry we will not be able to do further on it. Okay, I know that you're enthusiastic. Okay, we have got, once we reach 25 people, we will start the game quickly because it's a quick game. We can have 10 questions on the same sounded words. Okay. I think we should start immediately because time constraints. Once we reach 25, we're going to start the game. Okay, can others join? We are starting the game quickly. see that 11 people got it right, and you can see that Sayan, Pratyush, Ranjan, Aditya, Saranya, Namrata, these are the top 5 scorers at this point after the first question. Here we go to the next question quickly. All right, you can see that 19 people got it right. And is there any change in the position? Okay, Saranya came first, Namrata, Pratyush, Aditya, AD. Next one, we'll go quickly. There are only 10 questions. Okay, so 21 people got it right. And is there any change in the position? Okay, AD has come up. AD seems to be, hottest player there at the moment with the 3 correct answers in a row. You can see that. So here we go to the next one. All right, 20 people got it right. And okay, there's only one change. Sarvesh came to the 4th position. Okay, here we go to the next question. Right, 24 people got it right, and you can see the scoreboard ticking the 6th question out of 10 questions. See the enthusiastic participation and the quick participation by many of you. Sarvesh came to the 4th position, and the leading one is Saranya, and Namrata, Pratyush, Sarvesh, and AD. Here we go to the next question, 7th question. Twenty-three people got it right, and see the scoreboard is ticking. Okay, 24 people got it right, and this is scoreboard. AD has moved the 4th position at the moment. The remaining people are the same on the first 5 positions. So here we go to the 9th question. One people got it right, and here is a scoreboard. This is the penultimate scoreboard, and next we'll see the final scoreboard only. So Saranya is leading, Namrata, Sarvesh, AD, Pratyush, Ranjan. Again, I'm sure another 20 people are definitely playing hard, and this is the last question. Okay, so here is the final question. Let's see the podium finish at the moment. Okay, Sarvesh, you are the 3rd position. Well done. Number 2, Namrata. And the 1st position goes to Saranya. All right, so well done. Okay, runners up AD and Pratyush. Congratulations to all of you. So this is just to show how how this can be. Right, let me just pause it. So this was homonyms quiz there. There are lots of quizzes which are available online, and Kahoot is a very engaging, very entertaining game, especially when you feel that some segment is over and you have some time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes of a class, you can really play this and the students will love it. So this is Kahoot that can be played. Now, when we talk about, these are all synchronous platforms. When you talk about asynchronous platforms, which are not real time, we'll also talk about, if you have a good learning management system, you can do that. You can have messengers or even Facebook and WhatsApp or Snapchat, any of those, Instagram. These are some of the things which you can keep on. But for a teacher, I would warn you that make sure that if you can engage the classrooms with this kind of different modes of communication, you should share that, you should open it. Otherwise, Google Docs or even blogs, Google Meet, or give them a YouTube video before your class so that they'll come prepared to discuss that video, or even afterwards on a video. So these are some of the asynchronous platforms. You should also have some backup methods. You should always have your mobile numbers or a group that is engaged in the class. In case of any trouble within your online session, you can always grab them and have the issues separately dealt with. Now, these are some issues of online classes. I'm sure there are plenty more, but I found this video quite amusing. So, okay, let me just click the video.
All right, everyone, welcome to your first day of online class. Now, when I call your name, click the space bar so I know your presence. Andrew? Lexi? Alan? Very good. Why can't you guys pay close attention like Alan is? He is taking notes, he is paying close attention, and he actually makes me feel like he cares about what I'm saying. Everyone should take notes from Alan. Look at him.
Well, these are some of the issues with online classes. A couple of issues I just grabbed from the internet. There are plenty more issues which I'm sure you have more challenges to deal with. So this is again the British Council survey revealed some of those sessions of lower productivity as a result of distractions at home. Even for the teacher, you should be careful that you should
Sir, are you there? Hello?
Sir might be facing some technical issues.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah, just let's wait for a while. So we'll be joining us soon.
Abhishekta madam, could you please call sir?
Yes.
I hope I'm back and you can see me.
yes, sir.
Yes,
Perfect.
sir.
Yes.
Okay. So this is another live feature for the online class sessions where you get to disconnect it from all those screens and suddenly you're off the screen. So we've been discussing the issues with the online sessions and the asynchronous platforms and the backup plans that we talked about. So here we talk about the challenges of the online classroom sessions. Okay, so coordinating with colleagues will be an issue which is very, very difficult, challenging at times. Replacing face-to-face communication with the electronic means. I'm sure when I open the email, I'm sure you're not different. You will see, another 50 emails from the students asking about it. The other ones, other ways, you could have just sorted out with when you come out of the lecture classrooms, but suddenly every student has to write it on the email and every student needs a reply to it. So this is creating a lot of difficulty. Teachers sometimes feel the difficulty of switching off. We said about it before, blurring of the work and time off due to the flexible hours. And some teachers also express that they feel a lack of career opportunities or growth within the online session. So these are some of the things they have mentioned it. Now, there was a survey conducted by, it was interesting when I checked on the internet, I found University of Hyderabad created a survey. Somebody might have read about this, I think. It was claimed as the largest online survey by an Indian university conducted in April 2020. So in the survey, out of 2,500 students, only 37% of the students said that they could attend the online classes. 18% said they could not attend the online classes. Now, this is the Indian scenario, which will be useful for all of you, I believe. Over 90% said they would prefer to watch lecture recordings rather than attend live sessions. The digital classroom is indeed far more unequal than the physical classroom. All of you must agree with me. And then many countries are no different from it. And even here, we face a similar situations. Now, the lessons COVID-19 taught, this is an experience sharing, personal experience sharing. We had to undergo a sudden fallback on the online mode because ours was the first college in Oman in April, which was diagnosed with a COVID-19 case of a student. So the whole college was shut down overnight when the Ministry of Health came here. So this was, we were caught unawares, I must tell you, but within a week's time, we could start the online classes. We have never experienced, we had only a few training sessions, but we could start an online class in that way. However, after this 8 months or 9 months of lockdown, as all of you must have seen, perhaps the honeymooning time is over, the experiential or experimental time is over. Many students, as a part of reality, cannot afford the high-speed internet access. On online classes, they feel it's far more impersonal, and the only saving grace is that students can revisit the recorded lectures. Another feature which is very common with, I'm sure you would agree with me as well, is the facelessness. Online sessions are usually monotonous, okay, and exhausting to talk to a computer screen. Right now, I'm looking at it especially when I screen share. All what I can see is my own computer screen, and I'm looking into the camera and speaking. So this will create a lot of lack of eye contact, and as we can see, non-verbal communication, we said communication is a face-to-face interaction, and in live sessions we want to see the feelings, the emotions, the facial expressions of your listeners. That is completely off here, so you'll feel a kind of facelessness in this, and it's accentuated in the impersonal ethos that is there. In in-person classes, the teacher could see the facial expressions, the body language, to re-emphasize sometimes, to repeat sometimes, or to reorient on the same session that we're talking. However, this is completely absent. There is a complete absence of the collective buzz that's in a classroom. No curious rumors or no puzzled looks on their face when they look at a new concept. Now, this is a kind of facelessness, a completely draining your energy, perhaps, okay, for an online session. Further observations: students' connectivity issues, okay, lack of expressions, reduced assurance of learning. We have seen that video there also. There's a reduced reassurance of learning, increased distraction for learners, risks of online assessments. Assessments can sometimes be a farce if you say that you're conducting an online test, because there are multiple ways of cheating in an online assessment, and the students are better in describing this, okay? Further, we found that there's a lot of digital distraction. So student participation was much lower than an online class. Perhaps when you look at them, they would feel that, no, they are looking at them. That is not that. There is no kind of personal contact. Being the closed cameras, one does not know what the student actually is doing. Like we saw in the video, where the student is there sleeping, we have no idea. Are they sitting on their seats? We have often a hard time to getting students to stay away from the mobile phone, which is very difficult during the in-person class, and now it has become almost impossible. So there's a lot of digital distraction, which is an enhanced feature in this online sessions, unfortunately. Now, to come to the conclusion of this discussion here, okay, we have been talking about blended learning. Is it a paradigm shift or adaptation? We have seen the different features of online learning. We have seen some of the strategies used in online learning. Now, whether it is a paradigm shift or an adaptation, we are yet to see the whole picture. However, even in the post-COVID world, we will certainly have blended learning continued. Many of the courses, other than the MOOC, the massive open online courses, many of the courses, even our ministries here have started to have blended learning as a part of the curriculum. So there is no escape for a teacher to just say that I will only have contact sessions. This is a reality. This is a new normal, as they say. So we all need to accept the realities as it is, because this is going to be happening for the future as well. So the question whether teachers can be replaced by computers, the answer is, this is the answer. Technology won't replace teachers, but teachers who use technology will probably replace teachers who do not. So with this note, I end up this session. I thank you for the university and this, the organization for inviting me for this plenary session. It was really nice to meet you once again, all of you, at least in the online mode. Thank you so much. And if you have any further questions, I'd be happy to answer it. Thank you.